is the first and most productive way to start a salon here, because probably we'll never be together like this in a group. Go ahead. And Debbie and Jim and everybody else, I'm asking you guys, because I don't want to presume. Go ahead, Eddie.
During the break, I went around and I spoke with many of you guys and showed you a sample logo of this. It's pretty much just the letters OMMH, and around it will be brush strokes of the different colors. It starts with black, brown, red, yellow, goes into the rainbow, so it'll be like a spectrum, like it's easy for the eye to look at. And it will be transparent, except for the letters and the colors. So I'll pass it around and just write in the back any suggestions that you guys might have. Just the next time we meet, we have something to look at, something to stamp on the agendas and all that. So we'll go that way.
Thank you for doing that.
So what's a baseline question, Debbie? Thank you, Eli. What's a baseline question, Jim, Bong, all of us? Yes.
I mean, if we're just throwing things out there, and I don't know if you want to go down this road, but this is what's on my mind.
Yes.
You know, I was devastated this week to see that black sister shot, killed.
We can talk about that now that this guy's gone.
And it speaks to me about, you know, racism, and just all the things that Vinny has articulated in the program sort of focus. Here we go again, you know, and these are the things that you know, look like my daughter, look like your sister, look like, you know, another black or brown person. And that really bothers me. And I think the strength of this, we can go a lot of detail with Supervisor here, but this is the real meat of the work of the coalition. The cumulative impact of racism, trauma, and violence that we experience on a daily basis.
I just wanted to say, when we were at the break, a couple of us were talking about that the police officer, I don't know if it would be better to say this, but the police officer who actually did the killing was CIT trained, crisis intervention trained from the county. And so we were saying, this is the crux where the rubber meets the road. Because if that's the best that we can do when we have crisis intervention training, what is the hope for the people that haven't gone through that training? And immediately, there needs to be an investigation of what part of the training didn't hold on. Because clearly that's
Wow, that's
evident.
Guys, since we're talking about that, I sent out to the members that I have emails, I sent out an article that was prompted by all of this, by the killings, by Todo Poder, by some of the people that I've been speaking to. And the meeting that some of us attended 2 or 3 weeks ago, the community meeting, where the leadership rejected any kind of oversight of the police department. We've got it together, we've got the best department in the world. It's scary, guys, when institutions talk like that. So it just seems to me that we've got to be so proactively, and I don't know, I guess what we're going to do is move in different currents at the same time. Different roads, the same, just one second, Chief. So I'm thinking that out of this, because it's going to happen again, there's some real pain out there that then is killed. That pain is killed. It's snuffed. What we have to propose and get to work on it in this coalition is a crisis intervention team that goes out with the express directive of saving lives, not taking lives, not enforcing laws, but rather saving lives. And if it means that we have to sacrifice our own life to save a life, not take a life, but sacrifice a life, because that takes bravery and it takes something else that the cops are not being trained to do. No matter what crisis intervention that you're involved with, the first thing is take care of your ass first. That paradigm has to change, because that is not how you go in with unconditional love into the heart of the monster. You have to go in fully willing to be able to die, not to kill, but to die. The idea, of course, is to resolve the situation. So I think that at every level, we have to look at what is going on here. And, you know, you guys know that it was a Mexican cat that killed, this black sister. But it's not about color, it's about how they're trained, what is put in their head, and, what is put in their heart. What prompted this guy to go into a situation like this, and the first thing he does is shoot to kill? What prompts a police officer to do that? We have to get to the bottom of that and change that as a cultural way of doing business here in this community. So you guys got me riled up on the cops a little bit.
He
but,
believed the lie you told.
Yeah.
There actually is a group right now, Battleground Inc. and Hard Step Records, who are putting together the Oxnard Peace rallies and all that. They actually go out on the front lines right now when there's gang member shootings and things like that. They're actually called to the front lines with the police, and they're there on site when that kind of things happen. Right now, as far as I know, they haven't gone into with the mental health issues, but I do have the contacts to be able to find out how we can get into that.
I know David. I know David. And
David Garcia.
and they do their part, but let me offer a counter thing, because I think we have to be very careful, because there's different pathways for people. And so, not to say David's doing this, but when you come in, even too religious sometimes,
Yeah, no, that's why.
you have to be very careful. And so what we're saying is that there's many different ways, and there's many different expertises around the table. And I'm a man of faith, but doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to beat somebody over the head with the Bible all the time, or whatever I worship, okay? I think you have to earn the right to be heard. So that's what we're espousing here, and the reason why someone may, choose to follow my faith or your faith is probably because they like me, and I've earned a friendship with them, and I love them, and I'm genuine. But I'm not here to proselytize someone, and I want to be very careful about that type of stuff. And not to say that Battleground does that, but there's been others that have done that.
No, but I do get what you're saying with that, and that's part of why I stepped away from actually being a part of the organization and instead decided to work with them but not underneath them, because I can understand completely what you're saying. I've experienced enough situations with them where it kind of does feel like that, where it's like,
One of the important things that we have to do, guys, here in this group is, and I'm going to say it over and over again, you got to do your damn homework, or shut the fuck up. Do your homework, or shut the fuck up. Debbie is looking at me. She's going to kick me if she can. Because this is too important. We can't grandstand, and we have to be able to do our research. The cops own the streets. They own all the people that are doing the work out there. There's very few of us that are independent and are willing to say no to that. So we get bought and sold, and we get used, and we get co-opted, and we get thrown crumbs. We fight over them like dogs. That's why our community is suffering. So I challenge you, do your homework. And if you do your homework, you'll understand the history of Oxnard. And right now, the cops are not to be trusted in this community. And the people working with the cops cannot be trusted in this community. And as much as I say, yeah, to John, he can't be trusted because he's institutional. But with power, and I don't say that as a man, he's a trusted man. But as an institution, that's something very different. We have to be real careful. So I'm not going to chide, and I'm not going to, browbeat people. But I am going to come strong at people, with all due respect, that don't do their homework. Because it's really out there to see. And so we don't have a mechanism right now to address cop on community violence. We don't have anything that resembles cultural competency in the way we address the pain of Julie or anybody else in this me for that matter. So just please understand that we're breaking down, guys, and that the old paradigms, that the old contracts, the old kind of hookups that we think that we have with institution have led us to what we are today. And it's not very good. So mentally, the health of our community is really, really suffering, guys. 1 to 10, that's what I always do with my son when he's feeling bad. It's, a 10. The relationship with cops in this community is 10. It's horrible. And anybody that wants to play, that institutional game, do it. But it's at your own peril. We cannot stick our heads in the sand anymore and say the shit is gonna change because cops are good people. They're institutional people. They're not gonna change. We have to push them to change. And this group can do that. And all the people, all the lapdogs that the cops have, we have no time for them. No time. That's all.
I'd just like to make a suggestion. Maybe we would want to spend some of our time divided into several different groups to brainstorm, and I can just see that one is this crisis intervention issue. Maybe another one is language disparity, or I don't know if enough people are interested in that. And the other is artistic or other programming that could be used as the therapy. But I don't know, are there any other ideas of what would be like groups? Yeah.
May I propose a different,
Yes.
Yes.
alternative process?
Great.
And also make an observation.
Great.
And let me just couch my speaking up as something that I'm very mindful I should do not as much as I normally do elsewhere, because I know that this is your community and you deserve airtime, especially on issues as important as this. But I can't help myself but share some perspective. The first is an observation. I think that you are blessed to have had so many people take time out of their day today to come discuss this with you. And I would just urge you to make room for the possibility that there may be, that maybe 100% of the folks here are potential new leaders. I think that there will be a tendency in the very beginning to have usual leaders lead this process, but I think that for this to be truly, I think there's value in applying the recovery model to this group itself, and that is that.
Tell us what you mean by the recovery model.
So the recovery model is this CRDP project, this broader statewide reducing racial and ethnic mental health disparities project, of which this local movement that you're building is a big part. A fundamental driver of MHSA and this project is the recovery model. So the recovery model is a model that addresses the gaps of the medical model. The medical model, as you all know, pathologizes, it looks at illness and disease and treats those, as opposed to looking at the assets of an individual, their strengths, and uses those strengths to build something on. And there are, I won't presume to be the one to educate you on these things, so I'm just gonna say two last things. I think that for this group to be even more successful and to be the credible group that the supervisor needs and wants it to be, you need to create an environment where, number one, folks can freely talk about what issues are important to them, as opposed to what categories up here may make sense. And that's important because I think one key thing that needs to happen tonight is that folks trust one another, that they trust this thing that you're building, that their numbers aren't going to be used to advance the issues or a single issue that one group likes to advance, yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? So I think that the more you can convince folks that they can come here and they can speak what truly they want to say in front of a large group of strangers, the better off you're going to be. Number two, and I'll stop here. Number two, I think that it makes perfect sense that if your first project for which you're asking the supervisor funding is going to be a research project, the discussion ought to, these salons that you're wanting to do, they ought to be, they ought to lay the groundwork for the fact-finding that needs to happen, the assessment that needs to happen, the kinds of conversations that need to happen for that ultimate research project to be rich and robust with information.
Thank you. Good stuff.
Can I speak and do some comments and reaction, and at the same time some suggestions as well? So again, once again, my name is Harvey, and I'm a filmmaker, music producer, singer as well, and a professional dancer. So my first reaction is what you said, like, you know, if you don't do your homework, shut the fuck up, which is offensive, right? I'm being honest, I'm a Filipino, I just moved here 4 years ago. So I think ignorance and being lack of intelligence, like for example, like me, this is my first time sitting right here in front of you people. And I'll be honest with you guys, it's your responsibility as adults to remind us, to tell us what's going on. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? And for me as an individual about what's going on, about racism, let's face the fact. You know, just for example, if I'm talking to her and somebody just butt in, you know, that's disrespectful. Being disrespectful is not a crime. If you're disrespecting somebody, is it a crime? Somebody go to the police station, hey, this guy disrespected me. Please put him on jail. There's nothing like that. If I'm going to judge anybody because of the skin color, you're white, you're black, you're Asian. Sometimes my race, being a Filipino, is used towards me. You're Pinoy, you know, you're Filipino, you know. Even my race, they're using it against me. You're a Filipino, get out of here. My name, basically, imagine that. You're a Mexican, you can go here. Even your title as a race, it's using against you, right? So, as an individual, as a young man, as a humble man, as a dancer, as a filmmaker, I'm just telling you guys, first of all, about what's going on in cops. For example, I'm a driver. I drive. I have my driver's license at the same time. I caught by the police because I'm not turning my headlights. Yeah, it's my bad. It's my bad. But they're so forceful. They're so aggressive.
Who's phone, guys?
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry for my words, and if I'm saying these things to you guys, I'm just being honest, you know.
That's cool.
So this policeman is so aggressive to me, you know, and I understand what's going on. People with illness in their minds, you know. This is my reaction. This is just my own perspective. Every single one of us have their own stand. They have their own perspective, and I respect that. But in my own perspective, if one person with an illness driving, and they can present a valid ID, you know, or I have something like this. Do I have to present my driver's license if I have this ID? I hope you can understand, Mr. Cops. I have this kind of illness, you know, and probably, and imagine this. Every single one of us is driving, you know, and if a cop asks, what happened? They will give us ticket. Am I correct? Did they give us warning? Okay, you will get warning this now, and then this warning will be valid for 1 year. And then if you get another citation, it's gonna be 1, right? So you're gonna be more careful. But because you don't have any warning, you get caught. After that, what's gonna happen? Depression, stress out. Why? Because the cops, the community, even our highest government, they get money from it, right? Am I correct? Right? Mm-hmm. Because we don't have warning, and I understand why. Because it's a system. It's a system. That's what we need to think about. We have system, you know. I'm a founder of Philippine Artists United. I'm a painter. I'm a surrealist. I paint for the people. You know, I'm an activist in my own country, and I'm a filmmaker. We're doing filmmaking and stuff like that. I'm a dancer as well. We're working with different people. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm a member of Gatlahi Artist Collective. We have people right here, and then what we're gonna happen? We do something. we have 50 people, we make groups, 3 persons. We go to some city and knock on the door. Hey, do you guys have any problem with your house? We can talk about it, to release your stress. Some people go outside, some of my friends go outside and tell them, hey, how about give a free hug? People with, depression, walking, going to the subway, they're stressed. How about do some cultural things? Go to the mall, play a live music, do some poet and all that stuff. About what he said about salon, this is really good. Why? Because if every corners of the street has a salon like this, we have seminars. If we have seminars, what's gonna happen? People are learning. You can bring your kid. Because what? Because we have responsibility, we don't think about it. Every single one of us has responsibility, but why we're not using it? You have kids. Hey, Q, son, why don't you go to the seminar? Your kid is gonna be like, Dad, nah, get out from me, Go away. I have my own thing. Why? Because we're busy. We can see that. We're busy. We have our own job. We have our own priorities. But at the same time, we can't even focus that we have to learn our manners as well. I'll be honest with you guys. I came here 4 years ago. And I'll be honest. We don't have culture. We have culture in every specific individual. If you're Hispanic, Latino, or Mexican, you have your own culture. And because of that, that makes you unique. That's divide you from us. That makes you unique. That makes you different from us. You're black, you're Asian. That's what divide us. Because we have different culture. That's why even if we know the history of mankind, even if I read your history, if you being Mexican, Hispanic, black, if I know your history, I will know how to curse you, right? How about learning? How about learning the good things about the culture? Hey, you know what? This guy is a dog. You can say something bad to him.
Could you, or something?
Yeah, let's wrap it up, brother. Okay, let's wrap it up.
No,
because
just
we got
because
other people.
I don't feel.
Yeah, that's good.
You're making.
He
Please.
just expressed himself.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm done.
Yes.
It's okay.
We